Hi, everybody. Anne O'Connell with OC Publishing here, and welcome to the author journey today. Happy New Year. We're in 2022, and today I'm broadcasting live from cold Halifax, Nova Scotia. It's about minus 15 here. So I'm hoping that today's guest will be able to channel some warm weather for us. Really excited today to reveal the cover, which we did on some of our social media, but the cover of the new novel of our guest today that's coming out in April, The Holding. It's actually behind me as well. So today we have Lynda Faye Schmidt, who is the author of The Holding, which is a prequel to The Healing, which is also behind me here. And today we're going to talk all about her books that very closely mirror her life, and she'll share a little bit about her emotional journey in writing The Healing and The Holding. So without further ado, let me bring in Lynda Faye Schmidt from sunny, warm Panama. Welcome, Lynda. I'm so jealous.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me to be your first guest of the year. I feel really honored, really jazzed to be chatting with you, and really excited because I also just picked up my advanced copy.
Yay!
Of The Holding, and it's just so thrilling. It's only the second time, and it just feels like this creation coming into the world that, all the sweat and tears and blood behind it.
Oh my goodness. And I'll tell you, it never gets old. Like that, my very favorite time in the process is when I have lots of favorite times in the process, as everybody knows if they follow OC Publishing. But this is my favorite, very, very favorite, is when I can touch and feel. Look how beautiful. And look at that interior. Oh, you might not be able to see it very well, but it's so beautiful. The whole book, the design of this book, and we did a whole author journey a few months ago about book design. But this cover, if I just can take a couple of seconds here, the cover was quite a collaborative effort. The original photo here was taken by Danielle O'Brien, who we both know very well. And the design, the book design, the cover design, was done by our very own David Edelstein, who's done several books for us now. The interior, which you'll have to pick up a copy, is designed by Grace Lamler, who is a talented designer that we work with regularly. So what a team we had. Hey, Lynda, but what a journey it's been.
It's amazing. It's like anything, when you aren't a part of the process, it looks easy, or you certainly don't get the full feel of it. And I know before I became a teacher, it was the same thing, because I just had the gorgeous view of a student where everything's done behind the scenes. And I thought, oh, it looks pretty easy, right? And then seeing all that went into it. Or actually, on this trip to Panama, we went up to Boquete for a little road trip, and we went to a coffee plantation tour.
Wow.
And after seeing what it takes to get a coffee cherry to your cup, I'm just cherishing my cup every morning.
You savor every sip, even more so, right?
It's intense what they have to do. So same thing. I've enjoyed books and written books, only the two, but still just, I never imagined, like you said, the teamwork and still have so much to learn, but loving it.
Well, we're in this together. And, this coming March will be 6 years since I started OC Publishing, and the learning curve doesn't seem to get any flatter. So I love working with enthusiastic, exuberant authors such as yourself. So last year, we published together The Healing, your first novel here, and you decided at some point to write a prequel. So talk a little bit about what that process felt like, and why a prequel to the healing?
Yeah. So I had this old manuscript hanging around, to be honest, like really old, that I wrote. I don't really want to give too much away. So, anyways, I had a strong emotional attachment to this manuscript. And I felt after writing the healing, just, I don't know, something worked together in my crazy mind that inspired me to um, transform my old manuscript into something that fit as a prequel. And some of that came from questions from my readers who were interested in some of the themes that I just touched on and didn't develop too much. And particularly when Sarah Dimmerman from Help Me Sarah podcast interviewed me, she was really interested in that being in an emotionally abusive relationship part that kind of just got hinted at in the healing. And so I thought this will be a great opportunity to really explore those themes in more depth, to go even deeper and more vulnerable and more emotional. And from the feedback I've had so far, I think I've accomplished that. So, yeah. I'm just having some problems, Anne, with my little cheat sheet over here.
Well, I think you've accomplished that as well. And I want to say hello to everybody who's watching us, who may be watching us live. If you have questions for Lynda as we chat, make sure that you pop them into the comment section and we'll watch for them. So, oftentimes when there's a prequel to a book or even a sequel, people wonder, can we read one without the other? Like, what's your sense on that?
I think you can, absolutely. And truthfully, some people may choose to read the holding first if they haven't read the healing yet, because that's the chronological order. But I feel pretty confident in saying they stand on their own. One enriches the other, but they're not missing parts without it.
So when I think that they can be read individually, but of course I would highly encourage people to read both. Of course. What would you, this writing of these books, because it's you use a fair bit of your own life experience. What is it that you want readers to take away from experiencing the reading of the healing and the holding, which, of course, if I haven't said before, is coming out this April? Yay!
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really have specific goals for other people. This is a new kind of twist in my life. I used to have, wishes even for other people, prayers for other people. And I thought, who am I to say what they need or want? But on the other hand, I do think there's some pretty decent, valuable life lessons packed into both the books. I would say what I want most is for my readers to have an emotional response. I want them to, and that's tricky to do because I found in the parts that really were emotional for me personally, I had a tendency to pull back a bit, realizing it. And of course, you were massively helpful in that department of giving me that feedback of, this feels a bit cold for what's going on here.
And I know you're not a cold person. There's nothing cold about you.
I was shocked. Like, how can that even be? But it's so, I guess it's just a self-defense reaction. I don't know. But anyway, so it took a great deal of effort and determination and awareness to make sure that I didn't do that. So I guess what I'm jazzed about is I want people to really feel inspired. I want people to feel like, hey, that sounds like something I want to do. I want to go on a self-inquiry journey because I really feel that's where each person's power is figuring out, who the heck am I? Why am I here? And what am I about? And then just going deep into that, celebrating your strengths, knowing what your things are that you aren't so great at and working at those, but really strength-based, really authenticity focused is my big buzz for that.
Yeah, and I think everybody's going to take something different away from it because it is about personal journeys and overcoming adversity and abuse. And, what does it mean for you to be resilient? Just give us a little synopsis about the storyline. So anybody who hasn't read The Healing or isn't familiar with your books have an understanding and
Right.
want to run out and get it.
Yeah, sure. That always surprisingly kind of has me stop and think. You think I'd have it sorted by now, but The Healing that I published last year with you is really, like you said, it's a story about someone. Kate Henderson is the character that I chose to create for these books. Stepping out, hurling herself out of her comfort zone into a whole new life after enduring a lot of difficulty and beautiful things as well. Like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't all difficult, but into something really new and into this space of thinking about herself and learning how to love herself. And I did identify kind of 4 main messages from the book. One is that you need to love and accept yourself for who you are. 2 is the healing isn't a place you arrive at, it's a place you discover deep inside. 3 is, in life, it's not about avoiding difficulties because they're going to happen. It's about enjoying your highs, enduring your lows, letting go of all the ties that bind and limits and fear, and just living life fully, knowing that there's going to be some difficulty in there.
Boy, this is a good time in our lives to be learning those lessons, isn't it?
No matter where you are in the world, yeah, you're going to be facing some kind of challenge around COVID for sure. And the other one is that true love doesn't judge you, and it never asks you to be someone that you aren't. And I think all of us can struggle with that, including myself. We have these stories about what we expect from someone in the role. You're my mother, you ought to be like this, you're my son. Good sons do this. And instead of really allowing people to be who they are and loving them fully, even in the things that you don't like. And that unconditional love thing, it's not easy to do. Like, it sounds lovely and it's definitely a goal and aim of mine, but I find myself having expectations and having disappointments in how people show up sometimes. And that isn't fully unconditional then. So I'm working at it.
And so did it get easier, the writing, during the process of getting the second book written?
I would say some aspects were easier and some were harder because, like I said, I'm delving into those identified difficult, challenging, that are based on true events. I cover childhood sexual trauma, and I delve into bullying, and I delve into a rape scene. So, and because they were based on personal things that happened with me, it was difficult, but in some ways it was also therapeutic. And I tried to not downplay the trauma because that didn't feel respectful and to other people dealing with those things. But yet I really wanted to transform it into how the focus on how love really gives you your resilience to get through those things. And there is quite a significant spiritual side to both my books. I'm a deeply spiritual person, and I would say that comes across. But I hope that it's approachable for people who have different ways of expressing that, whether it's through religion or not, different kinds of religion. I like to be inclusive of, we can all share our different views and beliefs and respect one another in that as well. But the core theme, though, of The Holding is that relationship between Kate and father that was inspired by my relationship with my father. And it was just such a gift. yeah, I don't want to give away too much. It was a really impacting relationship that I really attribute, among many other things as well. But one of the core reasons I was able to rise above and still be a happy, joyful, optimistic, loving, caring person, not afraid to still jump in with both feet into relationships, which does surprise some people. It's like, really? But yeah, I just, the give back is so much more than the pain. You fully give your heart, you're going to feel so deeply than if you hold it back or wall it away. So
yeah, I think another one of the really powerful messages is, and as you say, everybody reacts differently to trauma in their lives. And, some people have a very real tough time trusting again, or really opening their heart to love. But there is also a lot of discussion about the healing process, as a result of traumatic events in life, and from therapy to and then some of the physical illnesses that Kate experiences, and things of that nature. So it's not like it was like snap the fingers and all of a sudden Kate was better, right?
no. And let's face it, it's always, the journey doesn't end. Like I said, it's continual. And so even though you might have achieved a level of healing that a lot of people do carry on, and they haven't even really resolved it, and yet they're achieving great things in their life, and they do have fulfilling relationships, but they are carrying this, and it affects them in some way or another. Adele did a really great discussion about that with Oprah. I heard. I haven't had the opportunity to watch it yet, but speaking about how she had this amazing career as a songwriter, and yet carried all this pain about her relationship with her father.
Wow.
And until she resolved that, it was kind of always there as something that getting in the way of her happiness. So,
I want to say hi to Bolster Family Educational Support, who's popped in here to say hi.
Hi, Christina.
And we have a question. What gave you the courage to embark on writing a book based upon your personal experience? Did it take you a long time to arrive at that decision?
Well, you can call it courage or stupidity.
A bit of both.
A bit of both.
Maybe.
But just part of really who I am. But I think I just needed to. I felt this deep need to share this. I can't really explain it any other way. I didn't even feel like an option to not. And in fact, originally I thought about writing it as a memoir, but that felt too restrictive. And so I arrived at this, to me, happy spot of fiction based on real life. And people aren't really sure, well, is this true or not? And is this really a person, or did she really go there? And in the holding, it's even more fictionalized than the healing. I did find one of the sort of unfortunate, I guess, outcomes with the healing was that a lot of people in my life who the characters were inspired by felt, that I didn't quite do them justice, or didn't explain things appropriately or accurately. And it was quite painful. And so I put extra thought and mindfulness towards that, and really made more effort into creating things that absolutely were not real, and melding them in a seamless way so that it wouldn't be clear, maybe even to the people. I don't know, but we'll see.
The lines. The process, the writing process is painful, whether you're writing like stuff that's fun, or because just sitting in the chair every day can be a little challenge, or it can be joyful. We also have a shout out hello from Carol Kujala.
Hi, Carol.
Thanks for joining us. We've got a good bunch. So just remember, everybody, if you have a question for Lynda while we chat, we've got a little bit of time left. I wanted to, you talked a little bit about writing those books, or the novels that you write, but you also do a regular blog, Musings of an Emotional Creature.
Yeah.
So, and you've been a writer pretty much all your life, and that's kind of a common thread. When we talk to authors, that's
Yeah.
usually the case. Well, why do you write? Like, what is it about the process that keeps you sitting at your desk and producing content?
I think I will always write, regardless of whether I'm able to achieve it as a career, as a successful career, because I just love it and I can't really say it any other way. It brings me, like you were saying, sitting in the chair is hard, but for me, 95% of the time, it's joy. The writing itself, not maybe the marketing and social media and stuff, but the writing itself is just something that I feel like a fish in water. I just feel like I belong and I feel like I'm being myself. And I feel lighter as the words come out. And I don't know. I love it. And it doesn't matter whether I'm writing a blog that is, you know, talking about a current event or something that's going on or some aha moment that I think I need to share with people. Or a book, or a poem, or a card to a friend, or just I journal every day. Honestly, I
Wow.
write this a day. Ever since I took the Artist's Way course in 2011, I've been writing in my journal pretty much every single day, unless I'm absolutely sick or
God
I'm
bless you. Wow, that's determination. We have a comment from Lana Shoup. I think others going through this type of trauma will also appreciate hearing your story told through the medium of fiction. Sometimes fiction is much easier to read than a memoir, and that is the truth. The reader feels they can distance themselves from the story and the difficult topic being written about. And she also said she recently came to your blog, and it's beautiful, which I think so too.
Thank you. What was her name? Laura?
Lana Shoup, Lana, who's
Thank you
also
so much,
who's
Lana.
also a reviewer here on the East Coast. So shout out, hi Lana, to Lana.
Kind words. Thank you so much.
True. It's hard to express or share in this format just how deeply emotional these two books are. But I just know for myself, because I'm really woven into the process of any of the books that we publish, and yours brought me to tears more places than one. And yeah, part of it is because as we develop a relationship and get closer, and knowing that some of this reflects your actual life, it's hard to read, and as Lana said, knowing there's truth behind it makes it difficult. But life is messy. We've talked about that before. And the more open we are about talking about these things and writing about them, I think the more productive healing can be. What would you think? Is that
Oh,
true?
yeah, I agree absolutely wholeheartedly. And that's what I was kind of hinting around at earlier, is that I feel that our society is really understanding that in a different way um, than in earlier times, let's say even, my parents' time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much more willingness to be emotional, to be open and share. And I think it's really a big step forward in accepting our emotions as part of us, just like we're learning to accept our different sexualities and our different ways of uh, being religious and our different gender and just everything,
Mm-hmm.
just more accepting. And in my experience, when you just kind of put on your stiff upper lip and carry on, it makes that trauma even worse, because it's like it's not being witnessed or real, and it allows more shame to develop inside of you than if you can share it and have it received in a supportive, loving way.
Mm-hmm.
It's a release. And
Mm-hmm.
now you feel seen and you feel oftentimes you receive compassion and empathy, but even more, you realize, oh, hey, I'm not alone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the only person this happened to, because you've only lived your life.
Right.
Right. And so, I mean, for me, I thought everybody had to endure this stuff. I was surprised when I met someone who hadn't. I was like, what?
What? Wait, it's not reality. It's not everybody's reality, right? And here's a comment. If there's a little bit of a lighter question, I'd like to know what your journal books are like. Do you have any specific stationery preferences? Are they all the same brand and color or different?
Oh my gosh, I have so many hundreds of journals. I laugh when books talk about it, someone who journals and they have their entire life in a diary. I'm like, who is this person? Right, one word for the day. Wow. But I have hundreds and all different colors and all different stationery from all different places that I've lived.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to say, way back in my 30s, I was a huge Oprah fan, and I still am. And she had her Oprah magazine and her wish list of things you had to have. And one of them was this journal with this great paper that was, I don't know, $100, let's say, and this pen that apparently wrote so fantastically that was also $200. And I was like, okay, please, who has that? And I was calling it hogwash also. Like, yeah, whatever, Oprah, you've lost it. But no, Oprah, I don't mean that. I love you. But then my husband recently bought me a really kick-ass pen for my birthday, because he's always looking for ways to encourage and support me as a writer. Such a beautiful, beautiful man. And it really does feel good. It does
It
make
makes a difference, doesn't it?
Oh, I could just, it's so smooth on the paper.
Yeah.
It glides. And
Yeah.
mind you, I write so much that I'm always running out of ink, and I have to have a whole stacked drawer of refills, which is, old school dinosaur.
Not at all. Handwritten notes and can I tell you, it's so funny because I always have journals and I write sporadically, but I've been really good about keeping travel journals. I've traveled all over the world, and I'm very thankful that I kept lots of notes. But not one does not look like another. But I know people who every single one is identical because that's the way, they stack them perfectly.
Oh, yeah, no, mine are messy.
And that's probably also the difference between like pantsers and plotters, right? But, there's always one close by, So here's an example, like right at my fingertips. So here's a journal that I keep for my next book, if it ever comes out. And this is a journal I'm keeping about the journey I'm on now as a caregiver for my mom. So this helps me stay bright and cheery with hearts because I love her to death. But anyway, I digress. So
that's a beautiful digression.
Yeah.
And I feel like, to me, I would say the journal entries are really the poignant punchers in my books, because they're based on and inspired by real journal entries, which is just such a gift, like to be able to
go back.
You forget. And then you've got this beautiful piece of writing that really describes so accurately how you were feeling, what it looked like, the people that were there, and you realize that you kind of forgot. And I also keep extensive journals when I travel. The book that I'm working on right now, my third book, is a fiction. And I do have this character go to Thailand near the beginning, which I was there. And it was so fun to get my journal out and then inject these little real stories, and knowing the names and knowing what that cultural experience was like than just Googling, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
So I was like, oh, this is beautiful. And I'd forgotten. I just had my own little giggles about some of the things that we produce there that are just so foreign, right?
Yeah. Where's your favorite place? Where's your favorite place in the whole world? And will it wind up in a book sometime?
Oh, I'm sitting in it.
Oh, Panama.
But actually, my favorite place in the whole world is just beside David. And
Oh,
wherever that, if I had to go into freezing Antarctic,
oh.
scorching desert, I followed them there. So there you go.
Oh, that's nice. Well, and for those of you who don't know, David is Linda's husband. So very excited. I just saw today that the holding, which is releasing in April, is available for pre-order now on Amazon.com and Amazon.ca and on Barnes and Noble. So check it out. It's never too early to order, and then you don't have to think about it. It'll automatically be sent to you on launch day, April 23rd. Lynda will also be doing hopefully a multi-stop tour during launch month, fingers crossed. So stay tuned. Either you can sign up for her newsletter on her website. Let me bring that up, hide that. www.lindafayschmidt.com. Or you can also sign up for the OC Publishing newsletter, ocpublishing.ca. I have that up here as well. And any last comments before we sign off, Lynda? I'm really excited. Here we're talking about Lynda Faye Schmidt's new book, The Holding, which is coming out in April. And there it is. Yay! So these are the first copies that we both have in our hands. If anybody out there is a reviewer and would like a review copy, please drop me a line, send me a PM, private message or a direct message, and we'll take care of you. So any last thoughts?
Yeah, I guess my last thought, I just want to say thank you to you, and because you've made this dream I've had for my entire life, and I'm 55, so it's been a long dream to come true. I'm so indebted to you and grateful, and I love you to bits, because you're not only a talented, amazing woman, but you are such a good friend. And the gifts are just expounding. And if I have one wish, I would really just love it if this could become how I make my way in the world. It would be extraordinary to me to be able to be as generous to my husband as he has been to me, and just, really have a place where I feel like I'm giving to the world and it's giving back to me. And it's all this beautiful balance where everyone is moving forward in a place of gratitude, respect, and appreciation and growth.
Wow. Well, I like that. And peace on earth, right?
Yeah.
Let's just add that. We might as well have the full package. Well, I really appreciate you spending the time with me today. And I hope, everybody is watching for The Holding. That's coming out in April. It's available for pre-order. And Lynda's first book, The Healing, is already available to order. She has it. There it is. Let's see. There it is. It's so beautiful. And just also to mention The Healing, a shout out to Parsboro, Nova Scotia artist Krista Wells for the gorgeous original watercolor. And thank you all for watching. And we'll see you again soon, Lynda, hopefully during launch month. So for now, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. This has been the Author Journey presented by OC Publishing. If you are interested in more about the authors that we work with, how you get a copy of the books, visit us at ocpublishing.ca. And we'll say goodbye for now, and we'll see you soon on the Author Journey. Thanks so much for joining me, and bye for now. Happy New Year, and stay healthy and safe.